All right. Good evening. Actually, this is very early Tuesday morning. Anyway, who's keeping track? Um, this is the starter video to help students begin working or give them ideas for the um, lead sheet assignment that is due later this week. I apologize, I wanted to get this video out sooner, but I've been swamped with performances and rehearsals and things myself. So here we are. And I'm at the starter screen where I'm just going to make a new score. And because this assignment is a lead sheet, we don't need to actually write out for a bunch of different instruments or even like a full piano part. In this assignment, this is just going to be a melody with chords written above the staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here with good old treble clef. It's going to be fine. Next, I'm going to do, just for our purposes today, 100 beats per minute. And I'm going to choose to actually go in a different key. Forgive me. I'm going to go into the key of D major. And I'll do 32 bars. And I'll name it later. I'm going to do the 32 bar AABA form and make kind of a jazz-oriented, instrumental, improvisatory type of lead sheet for this demonstration. There's other things we'll go over in our class that's going to happen later today. But for now, you could consider this a place to begin. And while we are going to go over other things in class, you could actually turn in a 32 bar AABA style lead sheet. That would be completely fine. Anyway, how would I start going about this? Well, when I say AABA, I'm talking about a very popular form that has an A section that's repeated, perhaps with some minor variations at the ending, a B section of contrasting material, and then a final A section where the first A section comes back. Those A sections can be a tiny bit different. I mean like a tiny bit. Just for the cadence, like the end of the phrase, or a tiny variation somewhere in there. It's still clearly A as long as the material is pretty much the same. So what I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier is I'm going to start by demarcating where those things are. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to kind of carve out 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars. And to save space, I'm going to use repeat signs for that repeated A section. But I'm going to show you something else you can do here too. So let's count 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I count that right? I did. So right here, I'm going to put a bracket. I'm going to put, not bracket, I misspoke. Repeats and jumps. It's very bracket-y, isn't it? There's a repeat sign there. It's optional to put the repeat sign at the beginning. Some people like it. It's optional. I won't put it actually because we're gonna do something different here. Now, to help myself, I'm gonna take these 8, hit format. Remember this part in our class? And just for now, put an 8 on top. We're probably not gonna hang on to that. We're probably gonna change it in a little bit to probably like 4. But I just want to do that so I can see what I'm working with, right? Okay, let's carve out another 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right here. Okay, now I'm not going to use a repeat here because we don't want to repeat the B section, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to change the bar line to show the person playing that a different section, like a section has ended and a new section is beginning. The double bar line, this one where it's the 2 equal thicknesses of these bars, that's going to show us the separation of a section. I'm going to do the same thing again. Boom, format for now. Great. And then lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 here. I'm going to format it again. At the end of this, for right now, I'm going to say final bar line. And then I'm going to delete these measures. See what I did there? I selected the ones I didn't want. I right-clicked, or that is kind of the double click where you hold one finger down. I'm on a trackpad on my laptop. You hold one finger down and then click the other one to get there. And then you delete the measures that way. How convenient. And now, I hope that if you're kind of following along with this video, this isn't so scary. It looks a little more organized. It shows us not paint by numbers, that's not what I mean, but like if we fill in this content, this information, we're on our way to completing the assignment, yeah, but also making a cool piece that you can share with people. And it's only that much information. It's not so bad. And you already know that you're going to repeat that first part 3 times, essentially the first time, second time, and then at the end. Okay. So now, what do you write? Well, I'm writing here in the key of D major. And I'm not writing I'm not gonna write some kind of crazy complex jazz thing. I'm gonna write something that's pretty diatonic and friendly for the folks watching this video. When we get into composition, I don't want to treat it with some hard, fast rules about what has to be in a certain place or has to be a certain way. I don't think that way. If we're pursuing a style, if you're chasing after, recreating a style or evoking something, then there may be certain conventions. So consider okay, well, if you were writing like a simple song, either for children or for just like a lot of adults to pick up quickly, imagine that you were writing like a national anthem that was singable by most people. I don't know. It would be recommended that the notes are moving pretty much stepwise, not exceeding a large intervallic range, and that they have certain things like a kind of suggesting a half cadence in the middle of the phrase, kind of ending that middle of the phrase going up and then terminating the very end going down. Things like that would start to get you to think about emulating a style. The more you go into music history and counterpoint things, the more you start to pick up about certain cultural expectations about melodic and harmonic writing for a style. Okay, anyway, enough of that. What do? Here we go. So I grab the pencil, and for some reason I am feeling drawn to writing a half note first, and I don't know, this makes sense to me right now. I'm going to keep it really simple. Let's hear it. Okay, so very singable, very simple. Notice I used this same rhythmic motif throughout until this little halfway point where I decided to change it a little bit. But Sorry, I got the GERDs. So at this part where I've changed it, I'm going back down. Um, I've ended on a half cadence here on scale degree 2, kind of suggesting a 5 chord. If you don't know what that means just yet, hang in there. Hang in there. You don't need that to complete this assignment and write cool music, right? But it's something you'll pick up later. You should watch my videos if you haven't already in this class. But I'm going to keep this idea going, and when I get to the end, I'm going to end it in a way that sounds more final. So if you ignore the theory jargon I just said for a second, ask yourself, I'm going to play it again. Ask yourself, does it feel like the phrase has ended or it needs to keep going? I don't know about you, but I expect something to happen after that. It sounds incomplete. That's what I mean by half cadence in that sense. Okay, so then I'm going to keep writing. And I'm going fast here, going fast, making choices. I wanted F sharp, yep. Slight variation. That one, I wanted a D. Here we go. Let's hear a masterpiece. I want to make one little change. I'm not thrilled with it. I want to. I want that sequence to be more exact that way. So I go from here. Okay, hooray! Hooray! Sounds like it's a nice little melody, right? Nothing to it. I'm going to keep writing melodic material all the way through, and then I'm going to harmonize it. That's my choice. You could actually do it differently. You could potentially write chords in and then a melody. A lot of folks do that. I like to think about the melody first, me personally, but teach their own. So that's what I'm going to do for this video. If I keep going here, what I want to do is I want the B section, that's what this is, measure 9. I want the B section to be more contrasting. And so in order to make it contrasting, I may do a little key change, but I'm not going to do like a key change with like an actual key signature change. This is too short a form to do something like that, really. But I might suggest something else. But the most immediate thing I was going to say was to introduce variation is to change the rhythm, because I've had these half notes and quarter notes up here this entire time. So what if the rhythm picks up a bit? It would definitely sound contrasting. Maybe I want the B section to be a little more agitato, right? Instead of being so tranquilo, right? So if I go over here, let's do eighth notes. And I'm just copying and pasting just to save me time in this video. Copy and pasting, copy and pasting. By the way, if it looks like things are changing here, I didn't change the number of bars. It's because it's auto shifting things over because there's a lot of content now and it doesn't want to be too crunch, so it's automatically spacing it out even though we told that. Like I said, we're probably going to go to 4 bars per system. But if I keep on writing here, I'll make this one. Wow. Okay. Let me organize this so I can see it a little more clearly. So these 4, there, 4, and okay, we're golden. We're good to go. Just to keep all this extremely clear, exceedingly clear. Not repeats and jumps. It's just under text, isn't it? We really wouldn't do this if I was making a professional grade thing, but this is just to demonstrate. I want to keep these labeled just for now. I might eliminate these later. This is my recommendation to you to make sure things are properly sorted. Okay, now I'm probably going to introduce some kind of change here just to keep things a little more interesting. And again, this is a very simple piece, and so just let's hear this B section. Okay, neat. It works. Now we have to go about harmonizing it. So let's hear the whole thing. B section. Okay, so there's that simple melody. It's extremely simple. Now, for it to be a lead sheet, it needs to be harmonized. And we're going to add those chords on top. So for now, I'm not going to be thinking about having a chord on every beat. That would be too much. I'm also not going to quite limit myself and say, okay, one chord only per measure. That is possible. A lot of pieces and songs are like that. So I'm going to give myself some flexibility as I'm harmonizing this. And yes, I'm improvising this. I did not prepare this. I'm just doing this in front of you for the video. Let's put a chord D, right? I'm going to think about a 1 chord in the key of D. So there's no chromaticism in the melody. Notice I didn't use any flats or sharps. There's only just the sharps in the key signature. But I may introduce some chromaticism in the harmonization, and I'll explain what I'm doing. I'm starting on a 1 chord. How nice. Now I'm going to add a different chord here because something feels or sounds different. What should I add? Well, we're going to go extremely folky. Yeah, just like one note. Okay. I don't like that, but we'll live with that. I don't like that. So here's a possibility, but I'm going to change it just to show you how I'm thinking about this. So I have a 1 chord, a 5 chord, and a 4 chord. I really, I'm not putting any rules on you, but it's totally fine to go from 5 to 4. The further back you go in some classical practices, the less often you would see that chord progression. But sure. It works. Here's another thing that could be done is we could say, if we're going to tread there, we could do this. Okay, the difference was I made a 6th chord, and I made it a 7th, just because it has the 7th in the utmost voice in the melody. That's a choice. It would sound perfectly fine if you watching at home decided just to do B minor. It just doesn't sound fine. It produces a 7th anyway. I like to label it that way. We can also do a 3 chord. Sure. Okay, sure. What I'm doing is I'm thinking of chords that have chords in the key of D that have scale degree 5 in them. So that includes the 1 chord, of course, includes the 3 chord, includes the 5 chord. It includes the 6 if you add a 7th, right? So I'm thinking very diatonically that way. Now, if I add a chord in here that was different than that, if I had E minor, let's check it out. I don't like it as much. I don't like hearing this A against it. It's funny. It's funny. Why is it funny? Well, I'm going to be a little bit technical for a second. Yeah, the A is going to clash with the E minor just in simplest diatonic writing, right? Because it's not a chord tone. It's not part of EGB. But what I've done is I've set up this kind of upper neighbor tone situation. In the upper neighbor tone, it says hello neighbor. It's the neighbor. It's above it. It's the upper neighbor. It says hello neighbor, and then it goes back down. It's common for that. This is kind of an accented non-harmonic tone in the writing. Here, okay. Now I'm being 100% factual about that statement. And same with this. It's accented. It's on beat 3. Okay. But because I've set up this expectation, we have the idea that this landing point is consonant, and this little up and then back down is dissonant, returning to consonance. And so if you invert that, it's gonna be a little strange. It defies expectations. Am I gonna mark you off on your assignment? No. I might put a comment, but I'm not gonna lower your grade over that. But just know that it sounds a little funny because we have certain encultured expectations about the placement of dissonance. Is it possible? Is it possible that the entirety of Western, what is called classical art music, is actually just about the management of dissonance and consonance? Anyway, so let's keep going. I'm gonna live with this progression. This is fine. I like the 3 chord here. It's cool. Whatever. Notice I put a little A7 there. Got a little half cadence. It sounds very half cadency. I'm gonna keep going and put a D. No, I'll keep the same progression going. I'm gonna change a little bit here. This is a tiny bit cluttered, but too bad, I say. Let's hear this phrase and see if we dig it. It's extremely oh wow, it's so boring. Okay, anyway, it works though. Let's make the B section a little more interesting, shall we? Shall we? Yes. By the way, the MIDI playback is very clonk, 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 but you can imagine that if this was played by, if you had a guitar player, kind of finger picking, like a steel string guitar, and then you had like a flute player, right? Or an oboe or something else. Imagine what that would sound like, because the guitarist would not necessarily be playing chomp, 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 right? It wouldn't be so blocky. This is what's tricky about the MIDI playback, is you have to imagine, without scoring it out, in lead sheet style here, right? You have to imagine how someone would interpret this. And I'm telling you that as the piano playback just went, I would never play it that way if I saw this on any instrument I play. I wouldn't do that. I'd make a choice just based on the context and how I was feeling and what I had for breakfast and how much coffee I had and things like that. So we have to kind of suspend our disbelief about it, right? Okay, so now we're on the A section. I'm sorry, the B section. What am I talking about? It's because I had an A chord in my brain. And I was imagining having an A chord here. And so if I do... we'll listen to it again to get to the B section. Okay, see how that works. Going to the 5 chord on the B section. That works. Cool. Okay. What if we then went to I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. There. I'll explain, don't worry. Nope. It's me getting ahead of myself. Here, I want that there. Do we dare? Do we dare? Maybe we dare. Maybe we dare. I'll explain. Don't worry. I'm gonna explain. Okay. Hold on. So I go back. Let's hear this. I almost like it. I want to like it so much. What I'm gonna do is actually, I'm gonna alter the melody a tiny bit, because this is actually what I really wanted to hear. Yeah. I think I like this better. It works. So here we are, and I'm going to keep this harmonization going. Slight alteration of the melody. Yeah. What I actually should do is this is what I should be doing. I'm going to make this one. I'm sitting here thinking about, like, why isn't this going the way I want it? And this is the way it needs to go. So E7, A. Okay. A7. So let's check it out. Let's see if we like it. No. No. Silly. How silly. How silly. This is what I wish to say. Yes, thank you for your patience. That's really what I wanted. Okay. So after a little bit of hemming and hawing on the B section, just to make certain choices, I've arrived here. What the heck have I arrived at? Well, I'll explain some things real quick at the risk of going overly long here. So I talked about the very simple harmonization I settled on here. I'm not fully in love with it, but it is what it is. And it's fine. It's the A section. It's very folky. It's like a lullaby, right? This B section, I've written something a little different. I've gone to the 5 chord, but I actually want to make it sound like the 5 chord is the new key. That wasn't set up here at all. There are some pieces in classical music where they set up that expectation as if we've logically gone to the new key by the end of that first section into here. But this is not what I'm doing. I'm doing something different. I'm just jumping to the 5 chord. In your ears, it still sounds like a 5 chord. I go back to the 1 chord. But I'm throwing now some chromaticism in here, in both the melody that I altered a little bit, and also in the harmonization, where I've set up the expectation now that A is tonicized. And I did that by leading us through to a 2 to a 5 of A. E7 is secondary dominant. It's our 2 chord. It's a 2 chord, but that's not minor. A 2 chord in the key of D, but we wouldn't say that. We would say it's a 5 of the new key that we're going to, which is A. And A was the 5 in the key of D, so this is the 5 of 5. Let me know if you have a question about that. But I've done that by using chords. Like this one's a standout for sure. But these ones, this is our 3 chord and then our 6 chord. But in this key, this is now a 6 to a 2 to a 5. As if A were tonicized. Now, if I go down here, I've done the same thing again. Melody's slightly different without the E sharp. And then it goes up. You might say, hey, isn't that a 7th going up? And I would say, it's the melody and we're breaking the rules today. So that's cool. It's the melody. What are you going to do? So when I hear this section, A sounds like 1. Sounds like 1. Now, at the end there, it sounded like a cadence arrival at A. Here's my 2 in the key of A. In the key of A. My 2, my 5, my 1. And then when I add this dominant 7th in the harmonization, that's a G natural in the harmonization in there. A, C sharp, E, G. When I add that, it suddenly sounds like it needs to go somewhere. And then we're back at the harmonization here at the final A section. Let's listen to the whole thing and see if we dig it. I'm sorry, I'm going to speed this up because just... You know. B section. There it is. Okay. Cool, man. Rock and roll. So, I would like to add just a couple things in here real quick. Slur these together. Sound nice. We're not gonna hear much of a difference on the piano playback, but it'd be a big difference if someone was playing this on violin. I'll do that throughout. Why not? Why not? There's more I could add, but I think we get the idea right here. If you have questions, please ask me. It's recommended that you add articulations, slurs, things like this to kind of flesh out the piece a little more. You don't have to go overboard. Not everything has to be, not everything needs a marking, right? But it's nice to include them so it's not just like random notes on a page. We have a little more guidance. Yeah, this is a lead sheet. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. You probably have questions. Go ahead and email me, and we'll go from there. And I feel like I'm forgetting something I was going to talk about. Nope. I guess not. Must not be that important. Nope. That's all I have. Okay. See you in class in a few hours. All right. Have a good week.